Okay, the little button says that we are live. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. Trust you're doing well, and welcome to the Sunday morning program, not your normal Sunday morning show. Jeff Doherty was to join us, and at 6 o'clock my time, he texted me and said that he was going to need to cancel. I did ask, text back, "Are you okay?" And he said yes. So I'm taking that our friend is getting to his mother's house, and 32 feet in this case is like living where I live at 6,000 feet. So, Jeff, we're all thinking good thoughts for you. Um, we know you're going to be okay, and hopefully, we will see this thing um, diminish in its intensity. Which brings me up to a point. Um, we're learning about how to participate. Excuse me. Ragweed season in Colorado is in full bloom, and it's like about 6 weeks early. But back to my point here, we're learning about collective consciousness, and we're learning how to develop our own consciousness, and also figuring out that every day you are contributing to the collective consciousness of our species, of humanity. If humanity has a soul, which I do believe it does, and a spirit, which I know all of us believe, because otherwise, why are you here, right? You're here because of you. But so every day, whether our core energy is directed towards, let's say, peace, something very beneficial to others, always thinking when you hear a negative assault against you that you turn it around and said, well, listen, I can let it go. Or, you know, the negative side that we all live in. Reality is reality, although it's relative in most cases. So has the 1111 thought consciousness been working? I would propose to you that it has, and I'm going to tell you why. Before I came on live, I went out and was watching the Weather Channel and getting the latest readings from Irma. Now, all of us have been giving mental ascension, mental thought to this storm diminishing, reducing down. And by listening to the news, and it's bad. I mean, listen, you'd be foolish not to recognize that within an 80-mile radius of that eye wall, you don't want to be there. And we know that this is now coming up to Naples and heading towards Tampa. And by all indications, it would seem like this is not working. By the way, I am also going to, at 11 minutes after, we're going to stop, and then we're all are going to participate watching this and think diminish impact, taking the life out of this thing, that it reduces down. So I have 7 and 7. So everyone else keep me on track on this. So let's take in consideration the following. 932 millibars. That's extreme low pressure. It's over 90 to 91 degree water temperature, and that temperature is deep. You know, the Gulf is much more shallow than the Atlantic side. The other thing is that this storm has been a slow drifter, moving at about 6 miles an hour. You can run faster than that. And when you look at all this, it has all the perfect ingredients of really feeding a monster storm. When this thing was over Cuba and they were showing the GO 16 satellite imagery, which is amazing, you could actually see this thing has a life of its own. It regenerates itself at night. Odd, huh? So I'm looking at this, and when I look at those numbers, in my thinking, this thing should be a Cat 5. I mean, it should be an Andrew. This thing should be having winds well above where it's at. So I contribute that to everyone. Thank you, George Norrie over at Coast to Coast. Thank you, Rex Bear. Thank you, Jeff Doherty, and so many others, other channels that have been doing. Thank you. You're the ones that made it possible. It's only when we come together like this. And so the reason why I'm bringing this out is that I don't want you to become discouraged, just the opposite. And coming up here in about 1 minute, what we'll do, we're just going to take that 30 seconds. How about if we do 60 seconds? All right. And you don't have to say anything. I'm just going to say, Irma, I speak death to you. You're dying, girl, as I am saying it. That's all I got to say. And you think your same thought. The point is, it's all at the same meeting point, that this storm continue to diminish, that eye wall begins to collapse, that it becomes, for some reason, an upper wind of a dry slot proceeding from a high pressure system to the west. All right, it's 11 minutes after. So I'll just continue to talk. This is what we'll think about. I'm going to paint a picture. I'm looking right now at the other end of my office, and I have this big United States map. So I'm looking at it right now as I talk. I don't want to get too far from the microphone. And I've got Florida. Right now, I can see Naples. I can see Tampa. I can see where our friend Jeff is at in Clearwater, hopefully now on the other side. But what I'm looking at is that I'm looking up here at Montana, South Dakota. And what I'm saying is that there's been a lot of dry air here. So let's send some of that down south. Why not? That would kill a low pressure system. That's what I'm thinking. Diminishing it. No longer having the fuel, because apparently it's had the fuel and hasn't been able to make use of it. All right. That's how quick it goes. And that's easy. It really is. If you got to, go talk yourself in front of a mirror. You self-talk anyway. All of us do. Which leads me into one of the things that Jeff and I were going to talk about when we never really have a set outline. By the way, that coffee cup is about 18, 19 years old. Good karma. So we know that this is working. How could we add to it even quicker? Because we're all novices at this. Well, there's some of us that may be ahead of the class. Maybe they're in the next class. We're just trying to catch up. So we're going to take summer school. How many of you ever remember? Do they still have summer school today? I mean, I'm not looking at the chat room, but yeah, actually, I did go to summer school. It wasn't too bad either. I love the format. It was completely different than the normal school day, right? So I wrote down, and as you can see right here, be still, O my soul. And in the Hebrew word is Shelah. So what does Shelah mean? Well, what it means in modern day, and for me, that I can get my soul quiet, almost to where I can hear the background white noise that we most of the time don't hear. And then I can focus in turning that down. So another interpretation is be still, O my soul, and know the serenity of God. It's the serenity of you as well. I mean, it's like trying to talk when you've got 15 other people in the room having 15 different conversations. No one's going to get anything out of that. So the other thing is, I was thinking this morning, as I went out, looked at the moon, which, by the way, just seems awfully big. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But the thought came that we really got to resolve our internal conflicts. I think so often our inner thoughts are in such turmoil. I mean, it's today, the sensory input that you and I live with, and the younger generations, the millennials, the young generations that are, let's say, going to be graduating high school this year. It's hard to believe that they were born at the beginning of this new millennia. Wow. Anyway, the assault that we have, it's very hard sometimes to get away, to get it to where you can, number one, be still enough, and then turn down the white noise, and then begin to look at what are the internal conflicts. We all have them. All of us face challenges. I was going to introduce you to Taboo. All you folks over at Jeff Doherty's channel, you know Taboo. And she almost broke her toe, had to go to the emergency room. And how many of us know what that feels like? I often say, you want to know what instant pain is? Stub that little toe in the middle of the night. I'll guarantee we are going to know what's in the center of your core because you're going to be speaking it. And the thing is, are you going to be saying the invoking the positive side of this, or are you going to be bringing that negative curse on you? So our thoughts are with Taboo as well. So getting the internal conflicts resolved helps us getting to that place to where, as we begin, for instance, the core 100, by the way, we're up to 25. I'll be putting out something today, getting everyone updated. I think this is fabulous. Think about this. If I looked at this as a corporate goal, and I had my staff, and we had set out what our yearly goal was going to be, what we're going to accomplish. When you begin to say, well, we're accomplishing this on a timeline that is absolutely outstanding. We've reached 25% of our goal in less than what, 4 days? Outstanding, folks. I have to drink some. I drink hot chocolate, so, but it's delicious. Yeah, that's about the caffeine tolerance I have. So anyway, like I said, we were going to do the live program with Jeff and his channel, and we'll get there next week. Continue to keep the people in Florida in mind. Listen, I believe we're having an impact on this, but there's a rage in nature. Now, many of you know my thoughts on that. Many of you have thoughts on that. My very good friend Liz. How's the weather over there, Liz? Good to see you. There is an anger with the earth. And I often want to think that, is it that the fact that earth has said, I've had enough of this? And so the inmate's been running the asylum, huh? Well, she's about to bring in the warden. Oh, wow. You know, when I post that program on the angelic wars, you're going to find out there are wardens. But back to the point. I mean, look at what's happening now. As we said last night, Irma is setting records that they said that they'll take them months to update the records on. It's a violent storm. Jose behind this one. And we give them names. Isn't that odd? I mean, we could just as well give them a number. You know, this is 16. Or this is 16B. No, humanity gives them a name. As we do with all things. Even our gods. So, why? I showed you that video I did, I think it was on Thursday's program, where at South America, the tides are just going bazonkers. They said that this storm was so powerful, it actually sucked the water out of the islands. I mean, that's intense. So I don't know. The earth is angry. Is the earth merely reflecting humanity's consciousness? Seems to be a lot of it. Is there a correlation because of the division that we find ourselves in today, where everything is so polarized, that energy is being channeled into these storms? What are we going to see this winter? I mean, if things continue as they are, we are going to see some wild weather this winter. I mean, we could begin to see the same type of extremes that we're seeing now produced over these very warm waters. And, you know, I don't know, doesn't 91 degrees almost feel like a bath water to you? Would to me. And that this winter, that as the cold begins to come in, and by the way, as Ben Davidson has been showing, the NOAA weather maps that you see on your local weather station at the beginning of each new month, showing the previous month's data on hot and cold, has been fixed. They're now being forced to have to show the real models. And what really is strange going on is that, yeah, you have extremes on high temperatures, but the real data is showing you're also having some very cold extreme anomalies. You know, there is a theory that says it's not the planet warming up that we have to be so much concerned with. It's getting the ice age going again. Who knows? So anyway, folks, kind of a short program, but you hear me all the time. So anyway, listen, go out and have a great day. Go out and put your hands on the earth. Tell her you love her. Apologize to her. Listen, our species is an assault. It's an assault to ourselves, but we also just assault everything else. So go down. Tell her you love her. And then be kind to yourself. And then be kind to the loved ones around you. Jeff,